Somebody shot my dad. I got the killer mentality. I come from murder and tragedy. Single parent home and family. Do this shit for my whole family. I'ma go get me a Grammy. You know that I'm missing you, granny. Backbone to my whole family. I got to turn for the family.
Mommy, look! Hold on. Who? Skylar! Where? Right there! Lyric, ain't nobody in the playground. I just see the little girl playing right there. But I see her right there! Oh, you guys talking about from like 2-3 months ago when that Skylar had died right there? Yeah, but I still see her. No, she's not right there. It's okay, baby. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a car. It's just a truck. I wanna go. Okay, we don't have to stay. We can go. Let's go. Let's just go back home.
I see that young girl, she's traumatized. Her mother don't see what she sees. She gonna see that for the rest of her life. Come on, young brothers. Think about the kids, man.
My black life matters, my black life matters, my black life matters like yours. So please, black man, don't try to take mine, and I promise I won't take yours. Listen, we gotta do better as a community. Start holding each other accountable for all this senseless killing. Kids are being hurt, mothers are being hurt, the communities are hurt. There's a whole lot of trauma. So let's do our best. Start holding each other accountable. No slides on.
Come on, y'all. We gotta stop this guy and this killing. I'm scared to come out my house thinking I'm gonna get shot the minute I come out. My kids can't even play in the neighborhood or the playground. Like, come on, y'all. We gotta do better as a community. Peace and love. Please don't shoot. Think about us.
Shout out to Rollo. No slides on. What you think, Tom? 2 minutes.
Yeah, man. I just good brothers, Rollo, Wayne. They sent that to me, man. That's an incredible piece. I think it's really showing how our children and our women have been not only victims of late, right? I think that was the first part of it. That's important. But on top of that, sort of the trauma, man, that's having, particularly on our children. And we in our communities, we see things that we can't unsee. You know what I mean? I think it's a very deep characterization of what it really does to you when you grow up in a community where you see death, particularly at a young age, man. So yes, no slide zone. I hope for the rest of the summer. I mean, well, the summer almost over, but going into the fall and the winter, that every neighborhood in DC can be a no slide zone.
No slide zone. And also shout out to Rollo and Wayne for also emphasizing bringing the rules back and trying to bring some rules back to the neighborhoods. Right. So next slide.
Oh man. So that's a picture of me and my father, man. I was that's 1996. I was 16 years old. He was in Lompoc, California. And that was the first time I had seen him since I was 12. Right. So I think it's very indicative of like DC inmates being all across the country in the federal system. Most times, families won't be able to go to California, to see. So those bonds can be forever impacted. I'm just thankful that we were able to stay connected, but person being 3,000 miles away. And then I ain't see him again until I think 99 after that.
Wow.
Yeah, because you can't just jump, you ain't just jumping out to California.
On the plane, right.
And I think most people in my position in my community probably would never went out there. So I went out there in 92, 96, and 99. He was out there for 13 years. And I went out there 3 times, So yeah, growing up in that time, DC murder capital of the United States, man. I be looking at them pictures. I just thank God. I feel like the luckiest man on earth every day, man. But we still fighting. Hopefully my father will gain his freedom at some point. We 31 years in, man. Look at that. Man. I was 16. I'm 40 now. Even that picture, I was 24 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? When I look at that, I'm like, wow, my father will be 58 next month. I'm 40. He be 58 October 18th.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah, man. So yeah, that's the deep one right there.
All right. Next one.
Yeah, I think. I mean, hopefully that sets precedence. Right? I hope they do it in that state, and then all the states do it, and then the federal government does it. I think it's important. I think, for real, if there's no wealth transfer in this country, if there's no amends made, you know, our ancestors built this country literally. I think people, often when we talk about slavery, in terms of it being such a distant thing, an old thing, right? Not, recognizing how what slavery created how slavery accelerated this country. This is a young country. For this
Very much so.
to get to the point where it is the most powerful country in the world in such a short period of time is literally linked to slavery, right? People could talk about the world wars that we fought and all that, but our ability to be a player on the national scene, to be a country where we had wealth, that came specifically from us. You know what I mean? And that's undeniable. And this country has to make amends for that. And it needs to be a wealth transfer of some sort, a significant one too.
And I always emphasize that in, the racial wealth gap, and you and I have talked about this, Tony, and shown the stats for it before. But for a white household, the wealth for average white household in DC is $284,000 compared to $3,500 of wealth for a black household. So we're going to talk about reparations and the legacy of the racial wealth gap. We can't address any of this life after the gunshot and all the things that we're talking about without addressing the inequality in the wealth gap.
Right, and how they're yeah, it's right, Doc, and they're interconnected. This is not an island. It's not separate from that.
No,
I mean, just to think that in DC specifically, and this is the largest disparity in the country. White Washingtonians outlive black Washingtonians by 15 years. Just think about that for a minute.
It's crazy.
That's significant for about 15 years, man.
And I didn't, that's a fact. I didn't even know that. So when I'm talking about structural violence, that's exactly what I mean. When you're able to take 15 years off of another racial group's life, and they are dying from early mortality much more earlier than another group, you have to call that violent. Like, we could talk about people getting shot with guns, but man, you taking 15 years off of somebody's life and you're not even using a gun.
Yep. And that's before they even talk about the quality of that time but it's all it's economic, man.
Exactly.
Reparations.
Exactly.
Sure
So shout out to Barbara Lee, and for people, I just want to put this out there. University of Maryland, Department of African American Studies, we're doing a reparations series for the entire year. We will be doing 4 panels starting in October and discussing why African Americans should be getting reparations, which will ultimately culminate into HR 40, which will be on the federal level. And then in the state of Maryland, there is the Harriet Tubman Community Investment Act, which is a reparations bill for all Black residents that live in the state of Maryland. Next slide. We got something to go with it.
Just in the book, I go into schools and I'm lecturing and we vibing around the book, and they're telling me, like, man, Tony, I'm going through that exact same thing. And the teacher's like, oh my God, I had no idea. Or the teacher's like, I had no idea they could sit still for an hour. Right? It's like, this is unbelievable. Like, can you come every day? I get that request a lot. But like, they got it in them. You just got to bring it out of them. You got to tap into it. And part of it, though, is just that acknowledgement. Right? Like, no, I don't think people don't want sympathy. People don't want a pity party, though. But like, we can acknowledge people's pain, though. A lot of times what we do, like personally and in this country, we write it off, right? Like, we say shit like everybody got problems. And we do. That don't mean I can't say I feel you, bro. Like, yeah, that shit tough. Like, sometimes that's enough for people.
And I put that up there. I know we couldn't get through it this summer, but I had to post that because, bro, you may not run for mayor, but you for damn sure gotta be a professor.
Yeah, for sure.
You know that's coming from the heart.
Nah, bro, that's something, Doc, that I did, again, I receive, and I really want to do that. I think I enjoy every opportunity to be able to be before, so that the next leaders, people that are going into, the workforce, going into specifically, doing things, working in the spaces, and we work in trying to arm them with the tools and the information that can help them on their journey. And to be able to have the prospect of being a professor at the University of Maryland is a great honor, something that I'm looking forward to. I ain't gonna say that I wanted. I can't wait to be in my class and invite you in as the guest speaker. You know what I'm saying?
I can't wait, bro. I can't wait. That's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, but I think that just even talking back to that, go ahead, Booby, man, great. I'm sorry, but shout out to Booby, you know what I mean? To talk about just the impacts of COVID and what we've seen, like with these health disparities and how our community is fragile, from so many directions, right? And so much of that has to do with, it's not just about, people talk about like even with that, like the food that we eat, but it's like as if there's like no, even back to slavery, like there's no connection to some even the food that we grow up eating in that could potentially be the cause of some of these issues with heart disease or diabetes, et cetera, right? That's a direct linkage to slavery and what we were forced to eat. You know what I mean? Nobody even talks about that. It's so, again, for us, we kind of buy into that. And then you see COVID again in DC, 75% of the COVID deaths I think it was 77, something like 77% of the COVID deaths were Black people, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. It's 46% Black. So like back in the day, and Che, to your point about the pulling over again, I'm just really quickly. When you look at the people arrested, the people incarcerated in DC is in the 90th percentile. Now, when we were growing up, that made sense because it was just like it was us. Mm-hmm. But now, even now, we only 46% of the population. It's still chocolate city when it comes to all of the issues. And I think again that really. And when you look at who's poor, when you look who's unemployed, when you look at who's incarcerated, who's victims of violent crime, who's homeless, when you look at all of those things, right? Who's food insecure, it's still in the 90th percentile Black. I mean, was not talked about enough. Not to say that our brown brothers and sisters don't go through nothing, but in DC, we probably got the most thriving, Latinx population in America, for real, like really do. So it's like, what is it about Black people from DC anyway? What is it about us and our conditions and our situation that is preventing us from attaching to all of the progression that's going on in our city? So yeah, and I look forward to sharing, some of my, my mindset around that, perspective around that, with the students, man, in the winter semester, whatever, winter break, whenever I get a chance to get before them. I'm really looking forward to that, Doc. And thank you, man.
I just wanted to highlight again for everybody that's watching what you see here, kind of in that turquoise is ASAP. I think it's 490, 99 or 98, but it's Prison Pandemic, which is going to be taught by yours truly, Dr. Tony Lewis, right here. So let's move on let's move on next to the next slide.
That's in your class, Doc.
Hey, I like that jacket.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, he's sharp.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's when you know you put in work. I just want to give everybody, you put in work. This is what happens after the class. So if you ever come and see my class and this don't happen to you, You ain't do your job.
Yeah, man. Wow.
From a private prison, I got space. Right? I got space. And matter of fact, you know what? I might just build a new joint. Right? Because I know they're going to be filled up. If I'm a voter in those states, my uncle got a job at the jail. My auntie got a job at the jail. My cousin who got the vending machine company got contract with the jail. The person that run the laundry got a contract with the jail. You get where I'm going with this? For these rural communities, that's called an economic boom. Right? So when it's time for me to go vote, I'm voting for whoever. I don't know about all the other shit they want to do and all that, but I'm voting for them if they're going to keep this going. So I'm just trying to give kind of a...
Hello, November. So as people continue to talk about and ask about why do these people support certain, candidates or whatever the case may be, again, people, that's wild. Damn, yeah, people voting from
It's
their
mind blowing.
Yeah, because the law that law and order perspective creates jobs in places where factories and things used to exist, right? The law has the law and order has led to economic boom. It's led to jobs, family sustaining opportunities and jobs. I'm going to support that. If you visit these places, you'll be like, oh, I held all these, I had these mindset. These people are, poor, ignorant, white trash. This because I hear people talk about like that, right? And you go to these places and then you start to see, because without this, these people ain't got nothing. You know what I mean? And people are able to manipulate the fact that don't have, so they try to not tell them that like, yeah, I don't have nothing else for you, right? We really forgot about you. So now, if I can make that group of people feel seen, right? Because I felt that these people were in the midst, they felt invisible for, decades. While their factories was closing, while their mines were closing or whatever it is, as a person coming from an oppressed state or coming from a community that's forgotten to a certain degree, I just try to step outside of myself and how I feel, and like really I can identify with why people would feel that way, right? And if somebody is coming to bring me some if I'm in the desert and somebody's bringing me a cup of water, you know what I mean? That's I think a lot of Appalachian region, Middle America, not to mention stoking all the racial stuff, but I think past that, you know what I mean? I think these did, and I think from a if you do play Democrat and Republican, I think that's very clear to me. That's how even Hillary Clinton lost a lot of them type of states, because she come to tell them how they was changing energy and closing, even you know what I mean? Or didn't go at all. Didn't go at all. You know what I mean? And it's funny, and that's what I was kind of sharing with the I got a line in the book, sharing with the class. I got a line in the book where I say I watch prison coal and steel country become prison country. Yeah. And that's where that conversation, derived from. And that's real. That's real, that federal prisons and state prisons, but federal prisons are heavily populated. It probably the heaviest concentration of federal prisons is in the Appalachian region, right? From Tennessee through Kentucky all the way up to Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? It's federal prisons all along Appalachia. And once upon a time, you had steel mills and coal mines,
coal miners. And that's why it's called the prison industrial complex. What I wanted to ask you is kind of, it's tangential to this, but I really want to ask you, like, what is your writing process? Like, what was the writing process to even dive into writing a book? Because I think a lot of people want to write books, and they say it kind of in theory, but never do it in practice. So what was the writing practice? What was the writing, motivation and style and level of discipline that you needed to have in order to even achieve writing a book?
Yeah, word, man. So really, as I mentioned, how, my father went to jail when I was 9, and from 9 to 22, he was in California. So, very early on, my mother, made it a point to make me write him letters. And in those letters, I had to be incredibly descriptive, and it just became sort of that's how we communicated, right? So my writing style and my ability to be a writer and paint vivid pictures and bring a reader into where I was at really started in me trying to do that with my dad, right? Trying to describe what was going on in my life, what was going on in outside, what was going on, you know what I mean, and what happened at my graduation. So when I got a chance to write the book, a lot of the stories that's in the book really came directly from, letters that I had written to him, honestly. And then I was able to collaborate. I got with my man Kevin Reeves, who's a writer, by trade, to help me, respect the genre, right, and really, produce a product that could be in a University of Maryland classroom, right, that a professor like yourself will feel confident enough to put it in as required reading. But really, my writing style and my ability to write really came from those letters, and then me teaching, returning citizens, returning from the community. And I think that helped a lot too. And me being able to speak to people that from various backgrounds and different, being able to produce something that everybody could sink their teeth into, because, being able to be a facilitator, slash teacher for all of those years really helped me hone that skill. So I think the two things together is what really, what I represent.
Hey Tony, so off brain question, but you just said it. How many letters you think you done wrote? Over, because you said your father been locked up 31 years.
Yeah, I mean, just to him.
I mean, know the exact number,
bro. I mean, I could guess, right, a guesstimate, because you gotta think. I was just specifically talking about my dad, but my uncles, my cousins. And as we got older, all my friends, so like my my aunts, like I've been communicating with people in jail. Like, man, I probably didn't wrote, man, bro. I probably didn't write, man. I don't even know. Like I would have to say at least 20,000 letters, bro. Like collective.
Wow.
I had to. Like, I mean, you think about all the time when they lock down and they can't call, so this is pre-technology, pre-email, anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, my Uncle Gregory, who ain't come home until I was 14. If I grew up, even before my dad went to jail, I was writing him. Some of my first ability to write. My mother, and I thank God too for my family. We grew up in sort of this way where we forget people when they go to jail. Like we supported them through, like, my interaction. A lot of people say, damn, you roll with your father, man, all these years. But like in my family, on my mother's side, my maternal side, you know what I mean? That's what I was taught. We was driving up in the mountains of Lewisburg, to see my uncle as far back as I remember. Like, if people follow me on Instagram, you see I post a picture. We in a visiting hall. I'm 4 years old in a federal visiting hall. You know what I'm saying? Like, this has been a part of my whole life, and that you always keep the people that's incarcerated a part of your life. And back then, if it wasn't a visit, it was really a letter, pictures.
And the crazy thing about that is that my Uncle Kendall, man, he doing 60 years right now. And, every time I talk to him, man, he just wanted to be so, like, he wants every detail of, like, how my day goes, how the month goes. He just want to be indoctrinated into, my life, right? And, I always thought about why he asked so many questions, you know what I mean? And, being in a situation where I got into some trouble, and I'm definitely ain't doing no time like that, but by you just saying, they trying to be a part of the real world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they trying to
you bring them out. You bring them out here.
Exactly.
And please get Kendall my regards. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, please get Kendall my regards, man. That's a big homie to me too. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
definitely real.
I think that's one of the things that gets lost in terms of, a lot of people know people incarcerated, but a lot of people don't do time with them though.
Right.
One of my uncle kid just came home last Tuesday from he had life without parole, and he got his time cut. So thank God he came home, right? And it was amazing to me that he called, he left me a message, And man, I'm just saying the impact that doing time with people have on you. I was like, damn, I missed this call. I'm listening to the message on the speaker, and my wife was like, why don't you just call him back? And I was like, damn, like, yeah, if he home, I can call him back. I got to wait for him to call because you know, the last 20 years and all, you know what I'm saying? If I miss his call, I can't call him back. You know what I'm saying? And it's that kind of stuff that show the impact that you know, really had. He thought that was hilarious, though. He just thought that was the funniest thing because he's like, damn, Slugg, they got you too. I'm like, yeah, they got me because I'm just so used to that. Like that, if you miss somebody, if you miss a call from jail, you know what I'm saying, you can't call them back. You know, people that don't deal with that don't really understand that. But yeah, that was a aha moment for me. Like, wow, he's free. I can call him back. You know, that shit brought tears to my eyes. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, on one end, it was like, I'm so happy that I can call him back. You know, it also makes you reflect on all the days that you couldn't, and that the fact that I can't call my cousins back or my father back or my homies back. You know, and yeah, man. So that was deep for me.
I just want to say to everybody, yo, that's a required reading. Slugg, as you can see, was signing after my class as part of my syllabus and a required reading for my class. So if you haven't picked it up, go pick that up. And you know, I actually used your class. I used it in another class too last semester. But amazing book, man. So last but not least, this is the last clip, and we funny with it. So we want to ask you, because everybody been watching Verzuz, I'm sure all of America by this point. So Tony, you're a hip hop head.
Facts.
You had to pick your Verzuz battle. What two people would you pick and why?
Ah, goodness. Now that's tough. I mean, for me, man, I think I go. Y'all know I'm a super Jay-Z fan, but I think that'll be. I'ma go. Yeah, I'm gonna go Jay-Z. I'm gonna go Jay-Z Drake. I'm gonna go Jay-Z in a versus battle. I mean, and then I'm gonna go. I think that would be a competitive battle. Not like lyrically, but just song wise. I think that'll be competitive. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see a versus though do verses, right, and not songs, right? And then I would like a Jay-Z Nas battle with just verses though.
Just the verses.
That's the verse. I think song wise, you see what I'm saying? Where it's just the
I'm feeling that.
verse. Yeah, that's what I would really. That's what I would.
That would be dope.
So they get it on the song wise, but if we just did like verse, that would be dope to me. That'll be
Tony. So I got one more question for you, man. Since we talking about music, man, you know when they tried to mute DC, what was your first thought, bro?
Yeah, well, we not having it. Like, and that's why I sprung right into action. Like, for real. Like, that literally, Ron Moe called, bro, I'll never forget that. Ron Moe called me. First, the dude, Tone P, who a music producer, he called me like the day before. But I didn't really take it. I it was at night, and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. But then Moe called me like 10 o'clock the next morning, and it was giving me like sort of the details coming directly from the guy at the store or whatever, right? And it's also interesting, and I'm gonna be really quick with this, but like sometimes you hear that's like a random dude telling me about something happened at University of Maryland, and then Doc called me and said the exact same thing, but I'm gonna hear from Doc differently because it's in Doc's lane. Like he know it. Not that I don't think I knew what he was talking about, but it just didn't hit me the same way, right? So anyway, when Mo said that, so Mo said, "Can you come up to the store?" And we came up there, you know. And then Tone P came. The store owner had called Tone P too, so we had a meeting. And then the lady Natalie Hopkinson, who Mo knows, she a Howard University professor, came, and really that was the formulation that day of the Don't Mute DC movement, because they had already created a petition, but then once I shared the petition in my bio, everybody went crazy, you know what I'm saying? And then from there, you know, sort of these simultaneous, and then me and Angel, my DC native partner, we have reached out to the council member, Brianna Doe. So we, you know, and then that was unfolding, and she didn't let us support. Robert White did let us support. Kenya came. Then the guy Yada did the activation on 14th and U the next day. So these things just started to culminate, and then, you know, eventually that birthed into these activations, and then Mochella happened, and then we was pressing on the council and blah, and then so now, you know, the guy from T-Mobile was like, the music on, you know.
So Tony, if you could describe Go-Go in 3 words, what would it be?
African, soulful, tribal.
Salute.
And on that, my brother, yo, as always, man, I knew we was going to cover a whole lot of ground. I don't even know. We could talk all night.
Yeah,
but
man.
I think every single topic that I have listed on my pad right here, we covered I couldn't cross them all out, but they're all done.
Oh, man.
Everything. Right? It's like,
guys, man. Thank you for all y'all do, man, for real. Peace.
OTL, Mafia Music. I don't really do the computers. I'm in the street with the movers. I'm on the block with the shooters. I'm on the block with the shooters. We